Bonjour les amis. Welcome back to Generator. Here we are approaching the end of season 1, and I wanted to talk to you about something that's so important to me, and it's something that I have recently in the past, let's say 5 years, discovered a new version of myself thanks to writing. So I wanted to talk to you about the power of writing and encourage you to do the same if you're not. I have found it to be an incredible tool for me in so many different ways. And I wanted to share those with you. And hopefully it will spark a little something to encourage you to break out your favorite journal or just a piece of paper and a pen. And hopefully you'll discover something quite magical.
Welcome to Generator. I'm Jane Bertch. I spent the first half of my life working in a corporate organization, and then I decided to trade that all in to become an entrepreneur. Yes, here in your favorite city of Paris, France. And today, I hope I'm a guide on your journey to personal reinvention and transformation.
So if I think about writing, one of the first things that I started in my writing journal. So when I think about writing, one of the first things I started in my writing journey was just journaling. And I'd like to give thanks to the book, The Artist's Way, which talked about morning pages and a prescription on how to write those. And while I don't write 3 specific pages a day, I do use writing in the morning as a check-in to how I'm feeling. So this writing is not in any way a to-do list. It is really an evacuation of my thoughts and feelings. It's also an opportunity for me to rationalize them. Sometimes I'll get up and I'll have a really heavy heart and mind. And writing those things out helps me to get clarity on them. And oftentimes I find I can't really even express why I'm feeling that way. So it leads me to question, is it as bad as I think it is? And sometimes it's not. So journaling as a tool, i.e. writing, has been incredibly powerful for me. And if you've listened before, you'll probably know that I wrote a memoir called The French Ingredient. And that journaling practice led me to start writing out my story. So it's thanks to writing, which I consider almost a savior at a very difficult time, which was COVID. I had time on my hands and I started writing a bit about my life. First, as a reminder to me that we can overcome tough things. Sometimes the things we're facing seem so enormous and monumental, but we realize that we've been here before in some version or another. And what helped me to realize that was simply by writing it out, by writing out as authentically as I could all the ups and downs I've been through, all of the difficult moments, all of the pain, all of the beauty. But writing out my story was a great reminder that I can get past this tough moment again because I've been here. And when I started writing my story, it turned into a book. Now, there's a little magic on how that book came to be. But the real beauty is I discovered when you share your story through writing, you'll connect with others. So writing turned out to open a whole new community to me. A whole new set of people I never would have discovered. One of those was myself. And in the power of sharing my story, I realized it's not mine, it's ours. It's a story we all share. It's a story of falling down and getting up. It's a story of testing yourself. It's a story of overcoming obstacles, of believing in yourself when you don't, of trying to find strength in your differences. That's just not my story. That's our story. So it's thanks to writing that I was able to share a message that I hope resonates with a few people around those topics. That's the human condition. Those are stories we all share. So again, coming back to the power of writing, if writing leads you to sharing your story, you'll be dazzled and amazed with the beautiful people that will come into your life because you realize you all have these things in common. And that's thanks to writing. That's thanks to me daring to pick up a pen and paper and write out my story. As imperfect as the story is, and certainly as imperfect as my writing is. And going on from there, I realized writing gave me my own voice. It let me express myself separate from my business. So if you happen to be a business owner out there, or a creative, or an entrepreneur, I do encourage you to find space for you to be you. And in my case, I was so intertwined, and still am, with my business here in Paris, but I never got to talk about my primary business, the business of me, and how I got there, and what's important to me, and how I work, and how I feel. And I suspect there's others that have those same feelings. So writing that book then led me to see I wanted to continue that dialogue. I wanted to continue to share with people. I wanted them to see a side of me that's not croissants and Eiffel Towers and butter, even though there's plenty of that. But there's vulnerability, there's questions, there's growing, there's wanting to learn, there's wanting to have an opportunity to explore different versions of me. So that book led me to create my own Substack, my newsletter, not La Cuisine's newsletter, my newsletter about life. And yes, it's intertwined with bits of Paris and French culture because that's very much a part of my existence after 20 years. So I started Prompts from Paris, which you can find on Substack. And just that act of daring to continue on my writing journey, again, as imperfect as it is, I have no editor. I don't have a set writing practice. I write when I can. Half of the newsletter I write in my mind as I'm walking to work, and then I forget half of it, and then I try to recreate it again. But it's been so joyful for me to do that. And it's been such a relief and a freedom to feel like I have my own space to share my story as it evolves. I hope it's not finished yet. And in that evolution, there's so many things that I want to connect with people on. So again, thanks to writing, it pushed me to continue on with a newsletter. And thanks to writing and all of those forms that I've had for the past, let's say, 5 years. So this isn't something I started in my 20s or my 30s. I was well into my mid 40s before I even thought about writing. And while I still don't call myself an author easily, I'm a writer. And we all are. We're all writers in some form. And because we're writers, all of us, if we dare to put that out for others to connect with, we realize there are some beautiful communities out there for us to tap into. And so in writing my book and writing my Substack, I started coming across all these wonderful people, all these amazing individuals that I realized no matter where we're sitting in the world, we can connect with them. And that one instance of putting a pen to paper so many years ago has evolved into me wanting to create another business. So writing has inspired me to explore a whole new version of who I am and to pull on some of the resources I have not been able to use to date. One of which is I love psychology. I did an executive master's that's focused on psychodynamics and how we affect change in ourselves. And while I love psychology because I think anybody that's running a business should, I haven't been able to use all those wonderful tools that I learned several years ago. And I wanted a forum to do so. So that's what inspired me to create the Generate Her retreats. So these retreats for women are focused on helping women reconnect with themselves. You've heard me say it before. I feel so strongly if you don't have a sense of creativity, if you lose your sense of creativity, it has such a negative impact on the view of yourself. If you don't feel creative, you can't reimagine yourself. You can't reimagine your business. You can't reimagine problems. You can't look at a gloomy day and turn it into sun. And because I was expressing those things through writing, I found a small community that wanted to participate in it. Hence, I started offering the retreats where we do just that. It's about community and building courage and confidence and, of course, creativity. And all that because I dared to pick up a pen. So isn't it beautiful how life is a set of these little dominoes, and they don't have to be huge. The smallest of dominoes can start a chain reaction of change. And the beauty of writing is it's not just a change in yourself, i.e., your morning journaling can really help you to reassess how you feel, help you to reassess your dreams. But if you dare to share that with others, you can affect change in them. So I've felt compelled to share that with you because all of you know I'm not a professional writer. I'm a business owner who loves writing. I'm a person that's wanting to grow and learn until I breathe my last breath on this earth. And writing has allowed me to do that. So I encourage you to do the same in whatever form it takes. And here are my top suggestions to fall in love with writing. 1, buy yourself a beautiful pen. Buy yourself a beautiful pen and a journal that you love to write in. Try to be very diligent about writing every day. Some days for me, that's 2 to 3 sentences. And if that's all I can get out, that's perfectly fine. And they're not beautiful and they're not edited. They're what's in my mind. And it challenges me to express myself clearly, even if just for me. Number 2, read. I love reading, and I will admit I'm a nonfiction reader. When I have extra time, I do love to read fiction. But in my quest to learn, I love to read nonfiction books, and I read with a pen. I underline, I write in the margins, I go back to review it to see if I retained, which is another thing when we're busy these days. We've got all these inputs and we might come across something interesting. Do we retain it or not? And then I have a separate notebook where I go and distill the information that I picked up that's important to me. So out of a 300-page book, if you flip through it, you'll find lots of little stars and notes and underlined. And then I go and I write out again what touched me. So writing helps me to retain it. And number 3, I don't know if this will work for you, but it certainly works for me. Go on a walk. I write my best work in my mind while I'm walking. And yes, I confess that I lose half of it because I forget by the time I get to where I'm going what I wrote in my mind that sounded so poetic and thoughtful and profound. But that's okay. The point is, going on a walk allows my mind to wander in a positive way, in a creative way. So even though I don't have a pen and paper in my hand, I'm still writing in my mind. And that's quite all right with me. So friends, 3 little tips to get you going. I hope you do pick up a pen and paper and discover all the magic it'll bring you, including wonderful new people, a beautiful community, and the most important discovery, the most magical discovery I think you'll find is a whole new version of yourself. If you're struggling with writing, I do have journaling prompts on my website. I'd love for you to check them out. Maybe that'll get you going. You can find that at janebertch.com/journal. And until the next time, my friends, I hope you're picking up that pen and creating magic. If you know somebody that might enjoy this, please send it to them. If you enjoyed it, please take time to rate it. And don't forget, you can always reach out to me on my website or Instagram and let me know what you're working on. Until the next time, my friends, a bientôt.